Hey friends, Shanna Kramer here with Creatively Uncorked, and this is a live video now for Creatively Uncorked members, and we are going to paint Fall Gnome. This is an acrylic painting, and this is one that I have a reference image for, but we're going to start from the beginning, from a blank canvas, and we are going to sketch our canvas and decide what we do and don't want about this painting. So normally we have our Tuesday night videos are released to the members.creativelyuncorked.com website. And that's where the members have access to all of the paintings in the library. It's over 200 paintings now. And this week, I did not have time to record anything in advance. So we're just going to do this live. So here we go. This is going to be an acrylic painting. And the colors that we'll use today are going to be white, yellow, orange, brown, and blue, and I'll bring out the colors when we actually start painting. Before then, we're just going to get started on our sketch. So I'm just going to start with my pencil. So now I did, over the past couple of weeks, I've been kind of checking in on people and doing a survey of how do you want to start your paintings? Do you want to learn how to draw, or would you prefer to trace? And I was actually kind of surprised. There were a lot of people that would prefer to draw. So that's what we're going to do today. All right. So I have this, let's take a look at this little guy. All right. So this little weird guy, he is an AI image, and I just couldn't get a prompt to get a decent image out of there. So this was the best I got. This is what I'm going to work with. And I'm going to try to make him cute is the goal. So he's got these eyes, he's got these big ears. I don't like either of them. Also, I was looking, he's got this thing that he's hanging on to. I don't really like that either. I do like the flower in his hand. I might make a change to it. I'm not sure yet. And then, so his cuffs on his pants here. I'm going to take that design and repeat it up here. And I'm going to put cuffs on his hat. And I think we can do about like that. And then we'll get rid of those ears. And then we can keep the rest of the hat as it is, but all this is going to be filled in. Yeah, I think we can do it. That is the plan. So let's take our pencils and decide how big do we want this gnome to be. So we're going to start, I think I want about that close to the bottom and about that close to the top. Okay. All right, so where's his nose going to be? Let's see if we put it about 2/3 the way down. I'll just give him a big old gnome nose. I better draw a lot darker. You guys can't see what I'm doing. All right. So there's the gnome nose. And how wide is his face going to be? About like so. Is that wide? Yeah, that looks good. And he's got some boots down here. Let's take a look at these boots. So his boots are about half the width in between the boots as the boots are. So let's just say the boots are about this big, right? And then we'll do a space in between, and then this big. Okay, can you see that? Keep drawing out a little bit darker there. So there's his boots. And he's got his pants cuffs right up above there. I'll just kind of loosely sketch those in. And he's got his beard comes down here. Okay, I guess I'm not doing a very good job of describing this. I'll give you a traceable anyway. Okay, this is his belt, the edge of his belt. This again is the edge of his belt. His pants kind of come out a little from there. Make sure we have the edges on his pant cuffs. Okay, I'm going to leave the belt alone until I have his beard. in place. So the beard, we've got the sides of his face right here. The beard comes out a little past that. So a little wider here, a little wider there. And then it comes down to this point. We've got his nose, and we know that his mustache is going to come out from the nose all the way to the edge. Of his head. Okay, so under his head, next thing we have is the beard, which comes out here. All right, same with the other side. It comes out first and then down. If we want to get fancy, we can do little fun little beard shapes. But let's just draw the gnome for starters. All right. So he's going to have a hand right in here. And he's going to have a flower right in here. Arm yet? Or let's get that hat in there. So the hat's going to come down just below his nose. So his nose kind of pushes the hat up a little. Right. And we'll put that cuff so it matches his pants. So now he's going to have that cuff on his hat. Is that a little too wide maybe? We can skinny it up. Yeah, skinny up that hat a little. Okay, so this will be part of the background. I could try to erase, but erasing from canvas is not very easy. So we'll just go with it like it is. All right. And we'll have do we want to fold his hat over? I think we can fold his hat over. Yeah, because otherwise he's going to be too tall. So we'll have to fold his hat a little bit. And that's going to come down like so. All right, yeah, that'll work. Yeah, that's fine for a hat. Okay, and now we have the hand here. I'm going to go with arms coming right out from the side of his beard. Right down to the hand. Same thing on the other side, except now we have his hat in his way. So right outside the beard, the arm is going to come out. And okay. So we can do that. He's going to have the flower in his hand. So this is going to be the sleeve. And the opening of the sleeve is right here. Okay, so that's where his arm comes out of. And I don't really want to do much more arm than that. I think I'll leave it as is because the flower is going to cover up kind of a lot of it. All right, and then we'll do just a couple of wrinkles there in his sleeve and be done with that. Sleeve over on the other side has kind of a dark circle around the hand. There. Now we have a little bit of darkness in there, a little bit of shadow in there. All right. Now let's do that, paint that hand. It's got a cute little gnome hand, should we call it? Well, I guess we can call it whatever we want. It's not going to change what it is, right? Okay, so finger, finger. You can always put mittens on this little guy. If the hand is going to stand out too much or get in your way, just put mittens on him. And over here, we're going to have the flower. Just indicating that, not drawing it out. And then all over this background, we are also going to have flowers, but I'm not adding those in quite yet. All right, I think that's enough for the gnome. We can do the detail later. And now I'm going to grab a paintbrush. Have my water cup, my paper towel, my reference photo, slightly modified. And let's see if I can maybe blend in this enough. I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea, but you see how that pencil just kind of gets in the way. see what happens. I just don't want it blending with my paint as I'm painting. Oh. Well, okay. And I'll get my paint out. I am working with acrylic paint today, like usual. I have a slightly different brand. If you're ordering an art kit to go, you will get our normal paint. This is not our normal paint. It's just what I feel like using today. Have some sitting around the house here. And I have all these fun colors. And if you get the art kit to go from Creatively Uncorked, instead of getting every single fun color, what we usually do, we'll give you fun colors if we have them. But if we don't, you are going to get the basics. It'll be white, yellow, red, and blue. So those are your primaries. And you also get black if you need it. We aren't really going to need it here. But yeah, and then you can mix them. I'll talk a little bit about mixing the paint colors as we go through too. So here I have it, my nice messy little drawing here, and I'll get this drawn up nicely for you as a download. So if you'd rather sketch or if you'd rather trace, by all means, you will have it. All right, so let's get started. This little guy's, I kind of want to start on the background, but okay, let's do this. Let's try this. And we are creating an entire painting for the first time. Right along with me. So what I'm doing is I'm taking some really thin brown, mostly brown, and on my brush, I'm just going to go ahead and scribble some on. What this is doing, this is giving me a toned canvas. And with a toned canvas, this is going to help unify my colors on the finished painting. Now this is really thin paint. I've thinned it out quite a bit with water. And this, one of the reasons is so you can see your pencil sketch through it. One of the reasons besides toning your canvas, I mean. Almost done. And when you're doing a canvas toning like this and painting a background, make sure you use a transparent color. All colors can be transparent if you thin them enough, but if you get a color that's already transparent, and if I can get it to zoom, I can't, so I'll just tell you what it says. Transparent burnt sienna. That's how I know. If you're using the Creatively Uncorked paints, the red, blue, and yellow are always going to be transparent, and the black and white are going to be opaque. The turquoise, if you get that, is going to be semi-opaque, mostly opaque. All right, so now we have the magic of a completed canvas. Where'd I get the gnome draw? Is it from internet? Yes, this gnome is an AI drawing, and I typed in a bunch of different prompts to try to get a decent looking gnome and couldn't do it. This was the best. Out of all the gnomes that I got back, this was absolutely the best one. So you can imagine how bad the rest were. So it had some redeeming qualities anyway. I like the colors. I like that there are flowers. I didn't like the creepy eyes. I didn't like those weird ears. So we're just going to delete those. And this cane or staff or branch or whatever he was holding there looked a little weird too. So that one's going away. So yeah, I just took an AI photo, or AI rendering, I should say, and then modified it. Now we're going to paint our own. Okay, so now this, I mean, if we were impatient or if we wanted to take a break, we could let it dry. However, I think I'm just going to keep right on going. So I'm going to kind of start from top down. Hopefully, this is going to prevent me from sticking my hand in wet paint. It usually doesn't though. So I'm going to work on his hat. In this hat, I have a phthalo blue here. And I'll start with just the pure blue, and this is going to go in the shadows. Okay, so where we had that little shadowy look there. And this is shadows going to come down here to the bottom of the hat. A little bit on the edges. Okay, so now I'm going to leave this for a little while, let that dry a touch, because this is kind of blending. All right, so I'm going to move on to what else? Yeah, let's do his little sleeve. So I'm just kind of doing the first layer of paint. And if you're thinking that this is not a normal way of doing an acrylic painting, you are absolutely right, but that's okay. This is our painting, we'll do whatever we want. So I'm just kind of outlining some here, getting the darker parts of this guy's little sleeves. Okay. And he's got a little bit more blue on those pants. I'm still thinking about that hand. Not sure if I want to keep that hand looking, or if maybe I want to put a flower in his hand. That might be kind of cute. There we are. Okay, yeah, okay. I'm gonna be okay with this. Give my brush a little bit of a rinse. And now while I'm trying to be patient with my gnome and let the paint dry a little bit, the paint is pretty wet right now. Pro tip, we do this at painting parties. If you have a spare plate, you can always fan your plate. This is live, so I probably can't walk away and put it under a hairdryer. Or can I? How about this? I'm going to go put this under a hairdryer. You think of all the questions that you want to ask and post them in the comments. Couple questions. Do you want to learn to draw from scratch like this, or would you rather trace? Would you rather mix all of your colors from scratch, like mixing your oranges, mixing your browns, or would you rather have colors out of a tube? All right, you go ahead and type all of your answers in there. I'm going to go blow dry this painting and be right back. All right, here we are back from blow drying this lovely painting. So let's see here. I am going to probably finish the hat. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to take white this time, mixed with the blue. Now this blue is very powerful. This is phthalo blue we're using. It's a superpower color, very staining. So tiniest amount of white is what you want to mix with it, because it's going to take over any colors you mix. Sure is a pretty color though, don't you think? Especially with this sienna background. Lovely. Now I'm going to pick up a little bit more blue, maybe add a more touch of white. And I like the paint to look kind of streaky like this, to be a little bit more painterly looking. I just personally like the way it looks. Okay, so this is his hat band. I can't forget that. What color should we make his hat band? I suppose gray, just like his cuffs? Yeah, good thinking. Right, gonna let that go for now. Actually, I'm gonna switch brushes. So the two brushes I had on your list for today were the medium filbert and a small round. And you're not stuck with using only those. You have all of the brushes that you have, so feel free to just go ahead and use whatever brushes you have. I'm gonna start with, this is a test. This is a color mixing test. I may or may not continue doing this. No, I will not continue doing this. I thought we could get away with not using black, but I guess we have to. 1 second. Okay, have a question. Beginner acrylic paints make lots of mistakes, so I try to fix a lot and it gets thick and not good. How to stop making mistakes. Okay, so that kind of a question right there is you can't not make mistakes. So Bob Ross says there are no mistakes, only happy accidents. We know that mistakes happen if it's not what you want. It's not always a good thing. We can call it happy accidents all we want to, but sometimes it's just not what you want and you'll have to fix it. And you're in luck because I make mistakes pretty much every painting and have to fix it. So anytime you start a painting, it's always good to have the mindset that this first brush stroke isn't perfect. This sketch isn't perfect. You put it on the canvas and then you correct it as you go. That's just all there is to it. You just assume that it's wrong and that you need to fix it. And you'll never have to worry about a painting again. That seems weird, but if you're just going in with the mindset of it's all fixing mistakes, because that's really all it is, you're just adjusting as you go. Okay, I have pure phthalo blue here. I just wanted to fix up this hat a little bit. Might as well, right? You can only blend the paint while it's wet. Okay, I just want to get a little more of those wrinkles in there. Where his hat's folded over. We'll get some dark edge down here right above that cuff. And I'll get that shadowy edge right in there. Right down to the bottom of his little hat. Okay, do I want to do any more than that though? All right, I'm gonna need to stop nitpicking this hat pretty soon. Okay, moving on. Let's move on to, I guess we can do the sleeves, what the heck. Still the same color. So now that's something that I just did that you maybe didn't see, but I dunk my brush in the water and then kind of wipe it off in the paper towel, like just tap the paper towel because you want it to soak up the water that's in the base of the brush here, because that's going to fool you. You might not realize it, but if you dip your brush in paint, you still have water on your brush and then you go to paint, you're going to end up with drops of paint on your canvas. One right there. And if you get a drop of paint on your wet paint like this, if your painting is still wet and you get water on it like that, it's going to show. You're going to have a spot. So there's a mistake that you should know how to fix, because that will happen. That's pretty much a guaranteed mistake. So that kind of a deal, if your painting is dry or mostly dry, dab it with a paper towel immediately. Hopefully it won't affect your painting. If you wait even a half a minute, it's too late. So just let it dry completely and paint over it. Okay, so I'm back over these sleeves. Just want to get those dark wrinkles in there. And the cuffs. Yeah. And of course I am painting this for the first time, so the things that I would have probably figured out before doing this on video didn't happen. Did not happen this time. You and me were figuring it out together. And by figuring it out, I just mean basically which brush strokes go where and what colors are the right colors and just that sort of stuff that it would be ideal to figure out before going live. But hey, live dangerously, I guess. And I'm taking just a little bit. I have a really soft brush here, and the paint, it is soft-bodied paint, but the canvas doesn't have a lot of give. So to get this is get the soft paint on the soft brush onto the canvas, something's got to change here. I got to have the paint even softer, so I just added a little bit of water to it. All right. Lovely. I can live with that. All right. So we'll do that on the pants then too. So I'm taking the darker color on the edge of the pants. The reason that I'm going back over it with this darker color is because you can't blend the paint if it's dry. It only blends wet into wet. And since I'm trying to do a blend here, I'm going to add the blue paint first, which is going to be wet, and then I'll put the lighter blue over it. So here I'm taking the lighter blue now, and if your paint changes color or if you have too much on your brush, stop, wipe it off. Back to the dark color first. It's usually a good idea to start with a dark color, because once that dark color gets lightened up, it won't go back to dark again. So if you start with a dark color, then you should get some nice dark darks as long as you don't blend them too much. And if you are not currently a Creatively Uncorked member, you can check out our membership site. It's members.creativelyuncorked.com. And usually what we do, well, every Tuesday night we release a new video. Often they're pre-recorded though, and then they're released to the membership. So all members have access to all videos. Today I didn't get around to doing that, to pre-recording, I mean. So instead, I'm painting this live. It's kind of fun. I haven't done a YouTube live for a long time. Let's see if I can get that hat to look a little better with a little bit of, kind of blur it a little bit. Blend my colors. Leaving a highlight. And in this case, I already have some light blue on there, so I'm just going to paint the medium blue where the highlight doesn't go. So we're getting a little bit of blending as we're doing this. Take a little lighter color. Okay, scribble that out a little. Okay, that's better. I might be able to live with that. If not, I'll fix it again. So back to the black. So there's a reason I had to get this black, and that was to do this gray. There are a million ways that you can mix gray. The simplest, most straightforward way is with black and white. So let's just do that. Okay, we've got kind of a medium gray here, so I'll open his hat. Go around his nose. Oh, got some blue on there, so I'll stop and wipe the brush off. Pick up some new gray paint. Okay, I'll blend in a little bit of white, but not yet. First, I'm going to come down here and get those bottom cuffs. Careful not to pick up any more blue if I can help it. Or at least stop and wipe off the paintbrush if I do. If you're painting wet colors next to each other that you don't want to blend, it's always a good idea to paint them just up to each other but not over. And if you do paint over and you pick up another color, which is bound to happen, so this maybe is going to be one of those mistakes that you want to correct. If you have accidentally go through the blue and then come back down to the gray and get blue in your gray, well then stop, wipe off your brush, do it again. Too much paint on your brush is going to mess you up. Okay, and I know he has a belt in there somewhere, but I think we've covered it up now with hands and flowers, so skip the belt. Rinsing my brush. Okay, and then I'm going into the brown. Now his shoes, I like that these are a really dark brown, so I'm going to pick up a little bit of the blue and mix it in with a brown. And that will give me a really, really dark brown. If I mix them evenly, it'll be one of the grays that I was talking about that you can mix. Touch of water, just a tiny little dot of water on my brush. And then back to that dark brown again. Same with the other foot. And then do we have this color anywhere else? Probably only the background. Well, and his flower. We can do the center of the flower with that. All right, looking pretty good. Okay. Now this beard, see I keep dripping paint, or dripping water. All right, so on his beard and his mustache here, he's got the dark gray in the cracks and then the white over the top, or the light gray over the top. So I'm just going to go in and take my medium gray. Probably don't need quite that much of it, but so you want to match the dark color that's in the cracks, the darkest color that's on the beard. All right, then I'm going to do with the lines. So he's got this beard that kind of comes out. Behind his nose, we might see a little bit. So this is going to be the shadow color. We make sure we get all those shadows. Oh, I'm in the way there. Okay. And I'll take that same darker brown, and I have all these dark curves in the beard. Maybe I actually want that to be a little lighter. Nah, not yet. I'm painting over a little bit where that flower is going to go. It's fine. I'll cover it up later with a flower. Going to give that brush a good rinse. dry it off in the paper towel. And now I have a few things that are going to be the same color, which is going to be a lighter gray next. So the hat band and the cuffs down here are both going to have highlights. And then that light color is going to go and fill in all the beard. So this is not white, but it's a really, really light gray. So just a tint darker than the white. Paint's still wet, so that will blend a little. All right, that looks good. I'll keep with that light color again, just wiping off the brush and picking up new paint so it doesn't get too out of control. And this is going on that beard. The gray that you leave behind is the shadows between the clumps of beard or clumps of hair. Just doing little streaks. And if you do this right away while that gray is still wet, you can get it to blend at least a little. But pretty much it might, if it dries, don't worry about it. Just go ahead and put colors next to each other. Don't force it to blend. Just let it do what it's going to do. All right, I'm wiping off that color because I picked up some darker gray. Okay, now I'm just filling in all the blanks on the beard. Everything that's not a shadow is going to get filled in with this color. Any questions at all, let me know. Okay, we got a little bit of blending there. And I'll just keep right on going with that. Right, and if you're just getting here, let me know if you're part of the membership or just checking this out for the first time, or maybe none of the above. Feel free to say hi. All right, we've got some pretty good beard look going on there right now. I think I can leave it like that. Well, maybe I'll clean up the edge a little. Maybe I'll see if I can lighten up his hat a little. Maybe I can even lighten up the top of his hat a little. We'll think about that and maybe get back to it. Okay. All right, so we are starting from scratch, starting from nothing, starting from this, and making our own painting from it. So all of these things have not yet been tried, and we're just kind of figuring out how this is all going to work the best way, right from scratch. All right, I think, yeah, we'll do a little nose. So the background is already kind of a reddish orangish sienna. And let's see if normally I would have red to make kind of a nose color, but I don't have red today. Ooh, I know. Take the white, a little bit of the sienna, which you'd think this would be exactly the color of the background, right? Because that's sienna and water, but not quite. That orange is really bright. I don't know if it's gonna, I don't know that that's gonna make his nose look any better. Yeah, see, it should be a little bit pinker, but we're kind of on the right track. And it might not get any better. All right, so here's the base color. We can add shadows later. I'll make this look like a hand if I can. And if it turns out weird, he's getting a mitten. How's that for decision making? We get to paint this any way we want. This is our painting. Nobody can tell us different. Not even me. It's your painting. You paint it how you want it. I'll just give you suggestions. Okay. Nice to meet you too. Is it Stivio? Oh my gosh. From Brazil. Nice to meet you, Brazil. Well, welcome. I'm glad you found us. I'm going to add a little bit of shadow on the bottom of that nose. Yep, looks kind of good. A little bit wider shadow, I think. Yeah, okay. Same color again, and all I did was take that nose color, the skin color, and just adding a little bit of this brown to it, the sienna. A little bit more than that. What do you think? Are we in mitten territory? I'm pretty tempted to say yes already, but we'll move on. Let's get some reflections on those boots. So the reflection is going to be a lighter color. Do we want it to be light brown though, or... Okay, I'm going to take this dark brown where it was the mix of the brown and the blue, sienna and phthalo blue, add a little white to it. There. It doesn't need to be bright to be a reflection. It just needs to be lighter than whatever you're painting. See, I just painted on there. It's not really exactly that color, but it's pretty close in value. This is acrylic paint, so it does get darker as it dries. So if you're mixing paints and testing your colors by painting on something, just know that if it's exactly right, it's going to be wrong when it dries. There we go. A couple of reflections on the boots. Okay, rinse that brush. I'm thinking on the hat a little bit. I'll just keep thinking. I'll think about that one for a little while. Okay, and let's move on to some flowers. So for flowers, we've got the background, all over the background, and we've got that flower in his hand. Let's start with the background. So I'll start by taking, let's see, some orangey color here. I'll just hit it. Okay, that's going to be the center of a flower. Here will be a center. Put one there. Maybe we'll put a couple of smaller flowers. I don't want to go overboard on the flowers. Yes, they're cute, but this is painting about a gnome, not flowers. So the flowers are a nice bonus. Okay, what color do we want those flowers to be? We can do a bright yellow one. That sounds fantastic. So to do bright yellow, we're going to get the shadow colors in there first. So I'll do a little bit of orangey, tiny dot of sienna. And starting at the center of the flower, press down, and then pull out and lift off. So that's going to be really wide at the center. Also want that darker. So I'm just adding more sienna to make it darker. Press down, lift off. And if you want wider petals in your flowers, I totally don't blame you. Grab a wider brush. That's it. That's all. You can do the petals in a couple of extra brush strokes, but bigger brush is just easier. Okay, flower's a bit weird looking for now, but don't worry about that. We're doing another layer. So here I have yellow and white. Just kind of adding those to the brush here. And I'll start at the end of the petals. It's way too much paint on the brush. Okay, end of the petal. That petal was already pretty light. So let's see. Just making it pointy on the end. I'm going to think about these petals for a little while too. Petals are super easy, and I made that look really hard. I apologize. I'll do better on the next one. That's the brush. Well, slightly fatter brush this time, exactly the same, pointed round, just a little bit wider. This is a number 6. The other one was, I don't know, probably a 4 or a 2. Oh no. See, this is why I don't like saying paintbrush numbers, because this one is a 14. This one is a 6. Yeah. So I'm taking the 6, the smaller one. And get a little bit of darker color, a little bit of shadow color. Oh, not quite that dark. Not that blue either. Okay, so I'm just wiping off the paint after a couple of petals. Oh, too much blue. Picking up a little white, a little yellow. There. I like these flowers a little bit better. The petals are a little more interesting. So instead of trying to do all the petals in one brush stroke, I'm just going to do them in a few. Wipe that brush off again. Go back to some yellow and white. Yeah, fancy little flower. Heck yeah. Yeah, I'm happier with that one. Okay, we'll try that a couple more times. I'll just start with one of these dots, press down and out. Now I'm back to the single stroke petals again. A little more color. If you do a little twist, you can get a little bit different shape to your petal. What is your favorite part about winter? Winter is coming up here right around the corner. Need something to look forward to. What's your favorite part of winter? Going back to those darker colors again. Move it over to the next flower. There, make this flower a little bit brighter, a little bit happier. Lovely. What else? How about well, I guess we'll do one more big flower. We'll make this one a really big flower. Get some more dark color. And when I say dark color, I mean literally dark color. I mean, I'm trying to get some just plain brown here, but I'm ending up with brown and blue. It does not matter. This is the shadow color. This is just going to be behind the actual petal color. It'll show through a little, but not enough that you need to worry. Just picking up some chunks of yellow and white. Wiping off the brush and picking up clean paint each time. This will look like a nice bright cheery flower. Get some orange to darken it down a little. We'll see if we can't put them like kind of going right behind that little gnome. A little more orange. Lovely. What do you think? Oof. Lost all definition. Add another shadow. So if you overpaint, if you paint too many brush strokes and overblend your painting, you're going to lose a lot of character and a lot of definition. Leave it fancy, leave it brush strokey, leave it, you know, almost slightly messy looking. Just leave it a little painterly looking. I just like it the way it looks a lot better. There, that was too bright. All right, lovely. And we can go back and add brown to the centers later. I'm not worried about that right now, although that will make a difference. I kind of like this fall looking thing. This fall looking flower. All right, and the flower petals. I'll pick up that light color, the yellow and white. If that paint gets dirty, go ahead and wipe it off, pick up some new. So this is back again to the one stroke technique. On this little guy, I put a bunch of little strokes. The rest of the petals, I'm doing kind of a one stroke or two strokes per petal. Take a little bit of brown, dark brown, so brown and blue, mix them together, mostly brown. Only use enough blue to darken it up. And I'll just kind of, maybe a little more brown than that. Doesn't need to be so dark. I'll just kind of tap, 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 tap. And this will get a little textury center to that flower. I mean, you can just do a plain circle if you want. Just going to get a little bit of texture in there if I can, because Not too often you see a smooth center of a flower. Yep, just like so. What are these, sunflowers? Sometimes sunflowers are really pretty. Maybe we'll paint some of those in the upcoming future. Better not be too long. Pretty soon the paintings of snow are going to start. So let's see. It's got some highlights. I do want to come back and do something about that hat. I'm really not happy with it. And I'm not going to fix the hand, I don't think. It's not bothering me now that the background is a little louder. Although I do think I'll put some more flowers in the background. What the heck? And they don't have to be flowery flowers. Ooh, maybe some green stuff. Let's do some leaves. Green. So I can take a little blue, a lot of yellow, a lot more yellow. This blue is super power. So make sure you add a lot of other color to it that's not blue. A little bit of blue, a lot bit of other color when you're mixing it. And this is really bright green. I'm going to see if I can dull it down with some brown. Yeah, not yet. What the heck, I'll add some orange. I don't know if that'll dull it down. Oof, don't know. Way more white. What the heck, we'll go with a little black. I'll do a little gray. Needs red, but I don't have red. I have sienna. Well, some colors you just can't mix with certain starting colors. You can get close. All right, so I'm just going to take this and do some leaves of some kind. Okay, so that'll be a stem. And I'll take a leaf off the stem and then press down, lift off. That'll be a kind of a little bit of a leaf shape. Nah, this is one you're going to want to use a tiny brush for. And by tiny, I just mean back to that tiny number 14. Ignore paintbrush numbers unless you get this specific style of paintbrush, specific brand, all the way down to every single word on your paintbrush. It's not going to be accurate anyway, so, or it may not be. Let's do a different green. So if I do the orange and the blue and the more orange. Okay, so that got me a different green. Mix it with a little bit of white, and that is even better. So we'll use it. Just going to see about filling in some of the background a little bit. Gray green. If you want your colors to not stand out, like if they're meant to sit in the background and behave, just dull them out, gray them out. In this case, I actually added black and white gray to it. And sometimes if you don't put down the brush when you're done painting, you'll end up painting leaves all over it. I was not intending to fill in the whole background, but look at me go. And I'll go back to that dark blue-brown if I can. If I can, because my paint is pretty loaded with other colors. It'll make it look like he's standing in something. And this might be 2 minutes past when I should have put down the brush, perhaps 5. Yep, I'd say 5. Okay. Maybe don't do that last part. All right, so I think I am going to call it here because if I keep going, no improvements will be made. So I'm going to stop here. There are a lot of details that can be filled in. I may be able to come back and do that, but I may not. So either way, you have an awesome night, and maybe we'll see you next week. Welcome to Creatively Uncorked members, and we'll be doing new acrylic paintings all the time.